So former Hillary Clinton staffers did a hit piece on Bernie Sanders recently in Politico, where they went after him for taking a private plane during the campaign in 2016. What they don't tell you is he was taking private planes to get all around the country in a short amount of time to campaign for her because he didn't want Donald Trump to get elected. So the attempt here is a hypocrisy burn, like, bro, you care about climate change, and meanwhile, you've taken private planes? What a joke you are, bro. It's so dumb for so many reasons, but you know who heard this argument and thought, nailed it? Tucker Carlson. So he had on Adam Green, who's a lefty, and Tucker is going to try to hammer him on this hypocrisy non-point. So let's watch that, and then I'll come back and tell you why this is even dumber than you think it is.
Of course, he should spend the last few days of a campaign doing everything he can to fight for a Green New Deal.
You should reduce your own emissions. No, it's really simple.
So he should walk to work. Should he walk from Vermont to D.C.?
Yes.
Should he walk from Vermont to D.C.? You just said yes. You just said yes. He should walk from Vermont to D.C. That shows the BS argument that you just described. Okay. Taking
you know what you're doing? You are making excuses because all you want is power. You're exactly the kind of person who would.
I've seen you make better arguments.
What you're doing is exposing
from Vermont
to
D.C.
You're exposing the shallowness of your own argument.
Anybody who takes any plane.
This is idiotic.
Is it idiotic? You just said he should walk from Vermont to D.C. Obviously, you don't believe that.
Okay.
Obviously, you don't believe that. He's not a hypocrite for doing that. He believes in tens of millions of new jobs in the clean energy economy.
This is idiotic what you're saying because look, you will
just
never
said he should walk from Vermont to D.C.
or your leaders.
You just said he should walk from Vermont to D.C. I asked if he should walk. You said yes. Come on, not a real argument.
You got me, Adam. You got me. You're a brilliant guy. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. We're gonna we have pictures apparently on the screen. Kim Jong-un's.
That was so great. He's trying to mock Adam Green, but Adam Green is making a perfectly reasonable point, and he's perfectly engaged in the conversation. It's not like Adam Green stopped to smear Tucker or yell at Tucker or make a bad point. He is engaging in the conversation on the grounds that Tucker wants to engage in the conversation on, and when he makes a point that Tucker can't refute, Tucker just starts mocking. This is idiotic. This is idiotic. Oh, yeah, you're a smart guy, Adam. You got me, bro. Actually, yeah, he did get you. He did get you. Why are you being so dense on purpose? I mean, listen, here's why this is just an insanely dumb talking point. Anytime they try to hypocrisy burn somebody on the issue of climate change, it's always going to be dumb. So I think climate change is real. I also own a car that burns gas. I get good gas mileage out of my car, but that's even if I drove a fucking pickup truck and didn't get great gas mileage, that doesn't mean you're not allowed to accept empirical reality and say, oh, climate change is happening and we should do something about it. And the main point is, the only way to get something done on climate change, you can never solve it at the individual level. Because just 100 companies are responsible for 71% of carbon emissions. Let me repeat that. 100 companies do 71% of carbon emissions. So even if every single individual on the planet decided, I am going to have 0 emissions, you would still have 71% of the carbon emissions that are already happening, which is totally unsustainable and can't happen. So even if everybody is as responsible on an individual level as humanly possible, you still wouldn't make a dent in climate change, and we would still be screwed. Now, that's not an argument to do nothing and throw our hands up and say, fuck it. That's an answer to regulate those 100 companies, come up with new laws, do a Green New Deal where we rapidly move towards green and renewable technology, create thousands, if not millions of jobs in the process of it. This is something people look at it like, oh, it's not possible. No, it's actually an opportunity if we treat it as such. But dumb hypocrisy burns aren't accomplishing anything, and it's not a good point. It's just not a good point. It's like when they say, oh yeah, you're rich and you want to raise taxes on the rich. Why don't you pay more taxes yourself. That's such a stupid point, because the argument is, hey, we need to raise taxes on the rich to fund things like universal free college, which costs about $62 billion. If one or two billionaires says, you know what, I'll pay an extra $1 billion this year, you still are nowhere near the number you need in order to get free college. In other words, it has to be systemic change. It's not sustainable on an individual level, and it wouldn't work on an individual level. So there are some things that need to be done top down. Now, that doesn't mean everything needs to be done top down, but to act like nothing needs to be done at the governmental level, at the public level, as opposed to the private level, do you have any idea how stupid that is? That really is one of the dumbest fucking things I've ever heard in my life. Obviously, some things require... I mean, that's like saying, oh, it's time to fight World War II. Well, why don't you just pick up a gun yourself and go over to Nazi Germany yourself and start fighting Nazis? It required a mass mobilization effort from the top down at the public level, not the private level. It would have been impossible at the private level. You had to do it at the public level. It's obvious when you look at it from the perspective of fighting Nazis, but it's not obvious when it comes to fucking climate change, when 100 companies do 71% of the emissions. Tucker, you are not that dumb. Adam Green is right. You're not that dumb. You're making a cheap, partisan, hacky point, and you know it.